Hello again, everybody. Well, I'm sure you've picked up from my recent videos that pretty soon here I'll be heading out to attempt to thru-hike the PCT, and I've been getting really excited, been finalizing all of my gear and what I'm going to take, and so I have it pretty much nailed down now, and I figured I would share and make a gear video kind of like I did with the AT, except with my PCT gear. And so if you've seen the video on the AT, my base weight, which is weight without food and water, was right around 15 or 16 pounds. This year it's a little bit down. It's right at about 12 pounds. And I could go a little lighter, but I'm taking a couple of extra things just in case. As I go along, I'm sure I'll mail some stuff home and lighten up a little more. So it's about a 12-pound base weight. So let's just go ahead and get started. I will cover first what I'll be wearing on me, and then I'll go over some of the gear later. So my biggest concern really is in the desert, just the excessive sun exposure. So I'm not really good at wearing sunscreen, so what I'm doing is kind of protecting myself with whatever clothing I can wear. So I've got a wide-brimmed hat. I had one just like this on the AT, but lost it somewhere around, I don't even know, but lost it somewhere along the way, and I really liked it. It's a good hat, comfortable, keeps the sun off of my face. Sunglasses, and I've got a little soft, kind of like a microfiber material bag that I put them in if I don't wear them. And actually, this is new for me. I've always hiked in short sleeve shirts, but in the desert, I've got this bright white shirt that will hopefully help reflect some of the heat and some of the sun's rays. It's UPF 50, so it'll keep my arms shielded in the sun, so I don't have to wear sunscreen if I'm wearing this shirt. And it should be just like a nice airy shirt. It's a Columbia shirt. It's got some vents in the back, and another cool thing, it's got this collar with an additional little piece of material here that you can flip up to protect your neck in the sun. So that'll be a new experience for me. I'm always used to hiking in the absolute minimum, but that'll hopefully help with some of the sun issues. For my shorts, I've got just some really light Go Light shorts here. And if you saw last year, a lot of my hiking I did in North Face shorts that had a liner in them. And these do have a liner, so I'm gonna see how that works out. I'm thinking it'll be fine. It's just like a really soft little liner here. But if it doesn't work out, I'll just cut it out and roll with the shorts as they are. But yeah, they're very light. They have one small pocket with a zipper on the back, and they're super comfortable. I've did a lot of hiking. A lot of the hiking that I did up in Maine was with these shorts. For my socks, I'm wearing Darn Tough, whatever they're kind of almost their thinnest model, not their ultralight ones, but I like to have a little padding, and Darn Toughs were super durable on the trail, so I decided to go with those. For my shoes, I'm sure you recognize these. They're the same as the ones I wore on the AT, La Sportiva Wildcats, and these shoes are amazing. They are super airy, so if they ever get wet, they dry out really fast. Comfortable, and they actually, despite the material, they actually last for quite a long time. These ones already have a little bit of wear on them, so I'm not sure how long they'll last, but no reason to get new ones as of yet. And if you can see on the inside here, I've also got the green Superfeet insoles. I really like those. It's something you may want to look into if you have foot pain whenever you hike. They're not for everybody. You may not even need them, but they do make it much more comfortable for some people, and I'm one of those people. So that's what I'll be wearing most every day. I don't have any pants. I know a lot of people recommend wearing pants. I just cannot fathom wearing pants in the heat, but we'll see. Maybe I'll end up getting some pants along the way and sending my shorts home or something. So that's clothing. I think what I'll do now, first I'll just kind of pan and show you the rest of the gear, and then I'll cover my big three. So for my big three, it's a total weight of 4.5 pounds. And if you don't know, big three is your pack, your sleeping bag or quilt in this case, and your shelter. So mine comes in right at 4.5 pounds, somewhere in there. So first off, For my pack, this is a new pack for me, so I haven't actually used this one on the trail yet, but in the store it was extremely comfortable. If you saw my videos last year, I used a Go-Lite Jam 50. This is a Misc Gear Crown VC 60, so it's actually a lot bigger than I need, and really it's a little heftier than I need given the weight I'll be carrying. And I don't need 60 liters, but when I do need a bear canister on the trail, which does happen at certain points, having that extra space I'm sure will be nice. And this comes in at about 2 pounds, a little over 2 pounds, so it's a little heavier than I would like, but I'm almost certain it's going to be durable enough to last the entire way, and it's really comfortable, so I think that's worth a little bit of extra weight. So that's the Misc Gear Crown VC 60 for my pack. For my sleeping bag slash quilt, this is my quilt, my DIY quilt I just finished. It's under 1.5 pounds. It comes almost to 1.5 pounds, maybe a little bit over, with this Misc Gear stuff sack or compression sack. And if you've never used these Misc Gear compression sacks, I highly recommend them. They're fairly light for a compression sack and they work very well, and they keep the water out for the most part. So this is my quilt. It'll be good down to 10 degrees, I'm expecting. Haven't really tested that theory yet. And you can, if you want to know more about it, I'm not going to take it out right now, but you can watch my past videos. I did a video on the quilt specifically, and I'll be using that the entire way. So that's my pack, my quilt, and for shelter, this is my tarp. And again, it's a DIY tarp. If you want to see more on it, I've got my videos on my channel that kind of highlight the tarp. It's about 9.5 ounces in this stuff sack, so it's really light, plenty of coverage really for rain. As of right now, you can see I have all of this gear laid out on a Tyvek ground sheet. I'm including the ground sheet in my base weight for now because I'm working on building a mosquito net with a bathtub floor, and it should be about the same weight as the Tyvek. So for now, I'm just going to take a ground sheet, but if I finish that mosquito net by the time I leave, I'll be taking that instead. So Tyvek ground sheet comes in a little over 5 ounces. It's kind of heavy. I think I'm going to actually trim it down to save a little more weight. And tarp, that's my shelter. For the stakes, I'll go ahead and cover these. I am taking 6 shepherd's hook titanium stakes, which are really light, and then to stake out the ridge line of the tarp, it actually takes a little more tension, so I'm using MSR groundhogs, which are heavy stakes, but they hold really well, and they are not going to come undone. And also, they're really good for digging cat holes, so they kind of serve double duty. I would have liked to go all completely shepherd hook titanium. It would save some weight, but it's just nice to know that your ridge line is not going to come down on your tarp. So that's my stakes. That is the big 3. So let's see, where should I start? I'll start with rain gear now. Got the big 3 covered, got what I'm wearing covered. For rain gear, I've got an Outdoor Research Helium 2 jacket, and this is a waterproof, quote-unquote breathable jacket. It's super lightweight, comes in at 6 ounces, and I'm not expecting a lot of rain early on, but later in the trail this will become more useful. I'm thinking, I don't have a wind shell, so I'm thinking I'm just going to use this if it ever gets that bad as my wind shell. It'll be hot, but so be it. I really don't want to carry both. So that's my jacket. I don't have rain pants. I do have a rain skirt. It's one that I made on my own. Took it on the AT. It worked really well. And it's just a simple little piece of sil nylon that wraps around my waist. Keeps my shorts dry. No reason to keep anything else dry. So rain kilt or skirt. And my pack cover. I will be lining my pack with a trash compactor bag, but I always like to carry a pack cover mostly whenever I set up my tarp or my tent or whatever. I put my pack inside the cover and just kind of leave it there on the ground, and that protects it, keeps everything together so I don't lose anything. I mean, it's not the lightest piece of gear, but I like to have it with me. A, it sheds the rain off so my pack doesn't soak up a bunch of rain, and B, it keeps everything organized, and I use it to put my pack on when I'm in my tarp. And my final piece of rain gear is actually a multi-function piece of gear. It'll be good in the rain, and it's also good in the desert heat in the sun. And it's a Go Light umbrella. It's a really lightweight, around 8 ounces, maybe, I think it's 7.9 ounce umbrella. And it's reflective. You can see the silverish coating there. So it reflects a lot of the heat in the sun, and it also keeps the rain off. So it serves a couple purposes. In addition to that, whenever I'm in my tarp, I can actually expand the umbrella and stick it into the entrance of the tarp to keep a lot of the rain out. A lot of the splashing, I guess, would be a better term. So that's my rain gear. I've heard you really don't get a lot of rain until you get a lot farther north on the trail, so I'm not expecting to have too many rain issues early on. Okay, so after rain is my cooking and food gear. This is my food bag. It's just a sil nylon stuff sack. It is, I believe it's 16 liters. Outdoor Research. Nothing special, and I just put a little light carabiner on it just in case I need to hang it anytime. So it's food bag. In the food bag, I have this little bag that has a section of tech line rope if I ever do need to hang, and it's about 40 feet of rope. And this is really light, under an ounce for this. So that's my rope, and I use this bag just as like a rock bag. Put some rocks in it, throw it over a limb, and that's how I hang my food bag. And inside the food bag, I will have my Snow Peak Trek 700 titanium pot. It's a great pot. This lid, as I've said in the review, if you've ever seen my video on that, is a little overkill. It's kind of heavy, but I don't really have another option as of now. I may just make one out of foil and send the heavy lid home. But so this is the same one I used on the AT. It was a great pot, perfect for fire cooking, held up well, is still holding up well, so really good piece of gear. This is the stuff sack I use with it, just to kind of keep some of the ash off of my pack. And inside of the pot, I've got my stove. I keep it in a little Tyvek bag just for protection. And with the stove, I have a little mini Bic lighter and the Snow Peak Light Max stove. And this is a 2-ounce stove, canister stove. I like canisters over alcohol just because really on the long distance they almost equal out in weight. Alcohol saves a little bit of weight, but canister is so much easier and convenient. And actually in a lot of places in California it's not legal to use your alcohol stove. Not that anyone would actually check that, but just something to consider. So this is a 2-ounce stove. It works great, boils water great. That's really all you need. And that's Snow Peak Light Max. And then I also have a little foil windscreen. And that's my cooking. My favorite piece of gear is this Optimus long spoon. That's really all you need to eat with. It's got a nice smooth spoon section so it doesn't grind your teeth, and it's long so you can get down into the bottoms of the food packs or the pasta side. Great piece of gear, highly recommend it. And then I also, this is a little sub 1-ounce pack towel. This is the same one I used on the AT. It lasted the whole time and it's been great. It dries out super fast, so you can use it to wipe sweat off your brow, wipe up any food mess you may have, anything like that. Really nice little towel. And that's my cooking. Trying to move along here at a fast pace. So on to, well, I'll just cover this. This is my X-Lite sleeping pad, and it's just it's about a 12-ounce pad. It's one of the inflatable ones from Thermarest. It's really warm. It's got a pretty good R value. I know they make one that's actually a little warmer for winter camping, but it's a little heavier and a little overkill for the PCT, I think. But what I actually did is I made this really long stuff sack, because with the traditional stuff sack that actually comes with the pad, it takes a pretty complicated folding procedure. When you're folding up the bag to leave camp, you kind of have to fold one side in, fold the other in, and fold the pad into thirds, and then roll it up, drain the air, and squeeze it into this tiny little stuff sack. And I made this long one, so what I can do is just roll it up from one end to the other and just stuff it in this bag and be done. It'll save a little time breaking camp, and also I can just put this in the pack vertically, and it'll actually help to structure the pack a little bit and add a little more rigidity to the pack to make it more comfortable. So Thermarest X Lite, it's about 12 ounces. For a pillow, I have a Cocoon Hyperlight Aircore. It's around, I think it's 2 ounces, maybe a tiny bit more. And it's just a tiny little inflatable pillow. But I've been trying it out in my bed at night, and it's actually fairly comfortable. I find it helps to underinflate it quite a bit. And I know a pillow seems excessive, but that's one of my things that I really like to take. Had to have one in the hammock, and I think I would like to have this on the trail, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it. Alright, so now my water system. I've got a Sawyer Mini, Squeeze Mini, and if you saw my AT video, I used the Squeeze the entire way, and that was a really great filter. This is just an even smaller version of that, so I'm hoping it'll have the same performance as that one did, and it should serve me well. With that, I've got the cleaning syringe. I'm still kind of up on debate on whether or not I'm going to be taking this. It does, I mean, it has another duty if I ever got a cut or if anyone else was injured. These syringes are actually really good for cleaning out cuts and stuff like that, because you can just put a lot of pressure and water into the wound. But I'm not sure I'm gonna take it. Its main purpose is to back flush the filter to actually prolong the life. I normally do that by mouth, or I did on the AT, and I would occasionally borrow one of these from someone else. But I'm thinking for 1 ounce, maybe I'll just take it this time. Not sure. We'll see. Anyways, moving on. This is my 2-liter platypus bag that I use on the entire AT, and it's still going pretty strong. Holds 2 liters of water, and it's actually the older design, so it does pair well with the Sawyer Mini filter. A lot of the newer platypus bags don't pair well. The threading is actually a little bit different, so you need to be careful if you want to use a platypus bag with the Sawyer filter. You need to make sure it's one of the older models that has the different threading. If that's not an option, the other option is to get an Evernew bladder like this one. This is a 2-liter Evernew bladder, and the threading on it is the same as the Sawyer Mini filter and the Sawyer Squeeze and any other 20-ounce bottle you would buy in the store. So this is the better option for Sawyer filters. Problem is, these Evernew bladders are a little hard to find. I'm not sure why. But so it's just a 2-liter water bladder. So that gives me 4 liters of water storage, plus I'll be carrying 2 more liters on my pack of smart water bottles. So I'll have about 6 liters of water storage capability, which I'm hoping should be enough. I can always add more if I need to. So that's my water. You can see here I've got my toilet paper and hand sanitizer. Gotta have the hand sanitizer just to stay safe on the trail. In my toiletries kit, I have toothpaste, a little fold-up toothbrush, chapstick, not always necessary, but I like to have it. Sometimes your lips just get chapped and there's nothing you can do about it. And I brought a little squeeze bottle of Dr. Bronner's soap. I brought a whole bottle on the AT last time, about a 2-ounce bottle, and I used about half of it, so I'm thinking this will be plenty. If not, I can always refill it. That's my toiletries. For a med kit, I have a really stripped down lightweight med kit. Inside of it I have duct tape, a backup lighter, I have a tiny little sewing kit in this little plastic case here with some needles and thread. That's really all you need, and a couple of pins in case I need to hang something up. And I have anti-diuretic, ibuprofen, some sterile alcohol pads, and gauze, and that's about all I have. I also have a patch kit for my sleeping pad just in case that gets a hole in it. And that's really all there is to my med kit. I would recommend make sure if you're making a med kit that you know what you need. Based on what I used on the AT, this is all I need. But for some people, you may need some other things. And obviously, you may need to include your standard medicine if you take any. So that's my med kit. Now, I think I'll move on to just like little miscellaneous things. My compass, and despite its size and weight, it actually is a really nice compass. It functions really well. It's a Sunto, I think it's called a clipper compass, and it actually does have the bezel so you can set your degrees on it and your bearing. And I'll be using that paired with the half-mile maps, which I have printed off, and I don't have those listed in my base weight, I just realized, but they will add around 8 ounces, and that's all I'll be taking. I have some apps and stuff on the phone to aid me in other situations. In addition to the compass, I'm taking a Spyderco Ladybug knife. Great little knife, super sharp out of the box. It's VG10 steel, which I do not have a lot of experience with, but it's just kind of like a middle run-of-the-mill steel, nothing great, but it should be better than your average stainless. And this whole knife comes in at 0.6 ounces, so it's really light, and it's actually got a fairly nice blade size for its weight. So, well, one more thing, just a little wallet here. You've probably seen my other video where I make a Tyvek wallet, and I'll be keeping my money and my cards in this. Weighs pretty much nothing. This is just a little container I'll be putting olive oil in. Just it's a great way to add some calories when you need them. And I like these screw tops. There are other options where you kind of push up the little nozzle there, but those tend to leak. These screw tops will not leak. For my headlamp, I'm taking my Petzl Tika XP2, same one I used on the AT, except now I actually have the core rechargeable unit adapter thing plugged into it, which adds a little weight, but it also adds the ability to recharge the light via USB. And this battery pack is rechargeable, so that is very convenient whenever you're going into towns, or if you have some free time, if you stay in a room maybe. You can recharge this headlamp and you don't have to keep buying new batteries, and you don't have to play the game where you go into town and you still have half battery but you think you may need more batteries, so you buy more and throw out the half. This kind of solves all of those battery problems. And once you see the rest of my electronics, you'll understand why I have that. So I'll just go ahead and cover it. I'll be taking all of my videos on my iPhone. So what I decided to do was to get a battery pack, and this is about 4 ounces, a little over 4 ounces. And what it is a 6,000 milliamp battery pack with a USB port that can charge all of my devices. So with this battery pack, I can actually charge my iPhone, this headlamp, and any other USB device that some of the other hikers may have. So it's a great backup, and at only around 4 ounces, it's a lot better than, say, a solar panel or something like that. And whenever I go into town, I could recharge this battery via USB from any outlet I may find. And that's where this comes into play. This is a dual port USB charger. Just plug it in to the wall and I can charge up my pack and my phone at the same time. or my headlamp and my phone, whatever need be. So that's my electronics. I also have a little tripod for the iPhone, and this is just to get some better shots on the trail. I'm hoping to do a little bit better with my videos this year, better than I did with the AT. Get some more hiking shots and stable shots, stuff like that. So also on my phone, as you've seen in my past videos, I will have the life-proof case, and that just makes it waterproof and a little more durable. I don't actually have that with me, but it adds maybe an ounce to the whole system. And this goes with the life-proof case. It just lets you plug in headphones. So that is my electronics. My goal for this trip was to keep all of my electronics under 1 pound, and I barely did that, but I did. This is just a little stuff sack that I keep all of this random stuff in, electronics, med kit, and knife and stuff like that. Alright, so what remains are the rest of my clothes. So as you can see here, I'm taking my Patagonia down jacket, same one I had on the AT. It's heavier than I would like, and I did try to make another down jacket to replace it, a DIY one, but it didn't really work out as I was hoping, so I'm just going to be taking this again. It's around 12 ounces, so it could be lighter, but it works well, and it lasted the AT, so it should do me well on the PCT, hopefully. Mosquito head net for when the bugs get bad. Not something I normally take, but I saw a lot of people that recommended them, and it weighs pretty much nothing, so I figured I might as well take it. A backup pair of socks, so I will be alternating between my hiking socks and these hiking socks. It's the same Darn Tough brand, little crew cut sock. And one other thing I have is a pair of heavyweight socks for sleeping in. Not strictly necessary, kind of a luxury item, but it's nice to have warm feet on those really cold nights. And I may actually, depending on the weather, I may mail these home and have them sent back to me later. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Then I just have a traditional bandana, good for sweat, for wiping up stuff. Just kind of like a little backup towel. For cold weather, I have the Patagonia Capilene Long Johns. So I have Capilene 3 bottoms, same ones I had on the AT. And then I have a new Capilene 4 top, which is lighter than Capilene 3, but actually a little warmer. And that's thanks to these little baffles of insulation they kind of have. Pretty cool design. I'll probably do a review on that pretty soon here. Probably from the trail, I guess. So those are my warm weather long johns. And I just have a little beanie here to keep my head warm. It's about 2 ounces, just kind of a traditional beanie. I have a wool buff, and I really like the buffs. They work really well. I've never used a wool one, so we'll see how that works, but it's great for a headband. When it gets cold, you can tuck your head into it, keep your mouth under it to stay warm. It has a lot of uses, and it served me well on the AT. So I'm hoping it'll do the same here. And finally, I have a backup pair of shorts with no liner, just a really light pair of shorts for either sleeping in or doing laundry in. And then just a lightweight, super airy, you can see it, you can almost see through it. Just a short sleeve shirt in case the long sleeve shirt gets too hot to hike in. And that about sums up my gear. Oh, I do have one more thing. My trekking poles. These are Lecky Thermolite trekking poles. And I know there are a lot of options on the market for lightweight poles and carbon poles. I've found that just going with a nice sturdy aluminum pole is probably a better option. Just because those carbon poles tend to snap, and there's no repairing that. Once they snap, they're pretty much done. I chose Lecky because from when I was on the AT, Lecky was super supportive of all the hikers. if anyone ever had problems, they would get their poles replaced, or Lecky would pretty much do whatever it took to get new poles to that person. Black Diamond, on the other hand, was quite the opposite and really unhelpful to hikers, so I went with Lecky with my new poles. My last poles were Black Diamond, but they broke. So that is the gear, and I don't know if I said it or not, but I will be doing videos again this year on the trail, so stay tuned and subscribe, and I'll keep posting updates whenever I can. I know the towns are a little fewer and farther between on the trail, so there may be a little more time between posts, but I'll try to keep it as up to date as I can. So I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully this will help anyone in the future that is trying to pack for the PCT or even the AT, really. And I'll see you later.